Hi, Mike, you said you worked for FRTS?
Yeah, I was stationed in Spangdahlem, Germany, and back in the 60s, and I was a part-timer there for a couple of years at Channel 22, and then my friend, I kept track of them. One of them was John Marshall there in Los Angeles, Jack Marcelio. We kept track of each other. He married Joan Van Ark.
Yeah, all right. Well, Jim, I guess he's told you he works robotic cameras for KCBS, isn't it, Jim?
KCBS and KCAL. It's a duopoly. Anyway, little of this, little of that. I'm off for 4 days now, supposedly, theoretically, till the phone rings.
You ever thought about turning it off?
Well, I never answer it. I never answer the phone. When work's calling, I let the answer machine get it, and then that gives me a little buffer of time to decide, do I want to go in or not?
Have you ever said no?
Of course, yeah. Fairly seldom. Not very often, but, I'd say on average maybe twice a year. Not very often.
Yeah, well, it's damn hard to turn down the money, but you gotta have a life, too.
Yeah, but it's also important when you're per diem, it's important that you have a reputation for being someone they can call on and count on. You don't want them to say, we could call Jim, but, most of the time he says, he don't want to come in, so call Bob. He always wants to work. I mean, that's what you're dealing with.
I hear you. I'd probably do the same thing. And that gets you called a lot, which is cool. But 4 days off would be nice.
Yeah. So, and hopefully it'll happen.
Now, back to what Scotty's doing. It could be the additional plate voltage. That could easily be the culprit. That certainly would set things up differently.
What different plate voltage?
Well, there's two supplies, remember?
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah.
I never thought about checking it with the auxiliary one out.
Now, wait, have you been using the same power supply all along?
Well, it'll operate without the auxiliary supply system on the floor.
Yeah, well, I wonder how it acts with that.
I'll have to try that.
I mean, we'll get to the bottom of this.
Yeah. I mean, and of course, it's not, you'll figure it out, but, last resort, you can always call the manufacturer and ask them.
No, they're out of business. But couldn't it be something as stupid as maybe these knobs aren't clocked out correctly?
Yeah, it sure could. It could be that. You said you opened it, right?
I'm sorry, you guys doubled.
I'm sorry. Let's see if we got it. You said you opened it, right?
Yes.
But you didn't look to see if they were set up correctly?
I don't think there's I've seen these type of vernier knobs before, and if you take the two Allen screws out, I think you can pretty much put them anywhere on the shaft that you want, so they could be completely clocked out wrong.
Oh, that could be it. You bought that secondhand, so that could easily be true.
The only thing that I can think of makes any sense, because right now I'm getting good output out of it. I've got low grid current, low plate current, so I don't see how anything could possibly be wrong.
Is this as simple as just trying to make the numbers on the dials look like the recommended or expected numbers in the book?
Exactly, because what it's doing is both the load and plate controls are off the numbers. They're off in Never Land. On the other half, the 180-degree part of the dial that doesn't have any numbers.
Yeah, but Jim, these are controls that go all the way around. You know what I'm talking about?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm saying understand what he's talking about. These are controls that turn 180 degrees, but only function in 90 degrees, even though they keep going. So it's second-hand piece of equipment. They could have just not paid attention to where they were putting the knobs back on.
Yeah, I I think this is nothing. I understand what you're saying, Art. It's a linear. It has a turn ratio of whatever, and they send it to you, and it's supposedly calibrated so that you're supposed to see roughly 45 on the plate control and 52 on the load control. And then somebody took and twisted it around 2 or 3 or 4 turns one day, and it doesn't line up anymore. It doesn't matter, really. I would probably want it to be close as well. I mean, you need to. If you care about that, open it up and zero the capacitors. Put them full or fully open or fully closed, whatever equates to zero, and take the knobs and set them at zero or whatever. It really doesn't matter. If it's performing the way it's supposed to, you just have reference numbers that don't mean anything.
Yeah, I said it wrong. It's 360-degree turn and only functional at 180 of those degrees is what I meant to say.
Right. I know.
Yeah, Art, it's just like the AT5K. You know how you can spin those things completely around.
Yeah, I got it. And next time you pop the top on it, take a look-see, and that'll sure as hell answer that.
Yes, it will. That's a good suggestion, Jim. I'll do that. I'm looking at the original tuning chart, and they're saying for a frequency of 3.790, the default settings are 75 on the load and 83 on the plate, which already takes them pretty close to the end of the scale.
Okay, if you're gonna change it, try to make it, if you want to establish whether or not it's been, twisted a number of times and now just the numbers don't mean anything, do that. If you don't care about that, don't bother with it. But what you should do, what I did is one day when I was bored and had a couple hours to play around, tuned my amplifier up on 1800 and then 1900 and then 2 megahertz and then 3.5 and 3.8 and 4 megahertz. I've tuned it up on different bands, and I took the digital camera and took a picture of the front panel where the controls were, and I named the picture. For example, I have one called 3840, and the picture is named 3.840, and it's a picture of where the controls are for 3840. I can set all the control there, call it up on my computer, make the controls look like they do in the computer, and I'll be very, 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 very close. It's better than even writing down numbers because it's a visual thing. You can actually look at it. But I'll tell you this. I did that when I first got the amplifier. And over the years, as the tube aged, I just replaced it, as you know, the controls did change some. Not a whole lot, but enough to be noticeable. But that's what I did. I took pictures. I got a picture for every single band.
Well, that's a great idea, and I'm thinking if this was like my little Meritron AL11H I got sitting here, it has definite stop point pegs. You definitely would not want to be right on the pegs, obviously, but since the manufacturer designed these things to go around 360 degrees, and I'm seeing good voltage and good current, I imagine I'm okay.
Those numbers are completely arbitrary.
They are, and what they put in the manual for sort of averages, that's all it is. It could be quite a bit different.
Yeah, Jim, you're probably right. God knows how old these tubes are. I'm biting my lip right now as I speak, because the last thing I want to do right now is buy three CX800A Pulse tubes right now. You know how much those things cost, but they're probably old.
Yeah, but that's not the reason. I don't think that's the reason that the alignment and the numbers that they're telling you to expect is out. Suppose that every time you turn that knob around one time, it goes the actual other side of the shaft only turns a third of a turn. And somebody's twisted it over, not intentionally, but over time it's been twisted. Things happen. Multiple turns around. Those numbers mean nothing anymore unless they're brought back to a point where it means something. And unless you make a conscious effort to make sure you never go more than 360 degrees, then all bets are off. Those numbers are just a reference point. If you want them to match up, you can make them match up again. But it's just to get you in the ballpark. And like I said, take a digital photograph, and that'll get you a lot closer.
Roger.